Construction has some secrets that usually only seasoned workers know. And today, WowTech is here to reveal them all right here. Aluminum foil is pressed into an egg carton to stamp a pattern, creating a unique sealing accent. As long as the surface is dry and enough staples to hold the shape in place, it won't sag or come loose at the edges. Adjusting foundation formwork is usually heavy work, but with level Rs, the threaded mechanism lets you raise or lower the structure precisely, then lock it in place to stabilize, helping level the height and reduce uneven settling during foundation reinforcement. If you need to slide washers on bolts without them falling off, try placing a few magnets at the tip. They'll hold the washers in place temporarily. Many people worry that walking on the surface while laying turf will cause it to sink. But the real deciding factor is the quality of the soil base underneath. When the ground has been properly compacted, moving around during installation has little to no effect on how flat the lawn is. When there's no core drill bit available for making large holes, the worker first creates a pilot hole to drive the ground screw into position. These screws replace traditional concrete footings, directly bearing the load and supporting the entire patio cover. A termite hollowed table leg needs to have the damaged part replaced with a healthy wood. To make sure the new piece bonds firmly and doesn't crack later, use epoxy or PU glue made for wood, along with an epoxy-based wood filler. Lack of machinery isn't a problem. Understand pulling force, and a manual pulley does the job. Gently slicing through concrete, this demolition tool is a great choice for areas where noise needs to be kept low, all without having to bring in a heavy-duty concrete drill. To create a faux wood beam, the first mortar coat doesn't need to be smooth. Those slight bumps actually help the grain look more natural, especially when you use a brush to paint in the grain lines. This step is what really decides whether it looks fake or real. Finally, let the mortar dry fully, then apply a wood-toned finish. The result looks just like a real wooden beam, right? It takes real courage and impressive balance for a worker to move along high steel beams while setting up temporary frames as standing platforms. Work like this demands solid hands-on experience and must always be carried out under carefully planned safety conditions. Bandwolf helps you skip all those fussy measuring, cutting, and lining up steps when applying nail sealing tape. It guides the tape so it goes on straight and stays steady right from the start. First, route a groove into the wood, but leave the top surface layer intact. Next, Use a heat gun to warm the area evenly. Then finish the groove with glue, and you'll get a beautifully smooth, rounded edge. This method is often used for tabletops or counters. It looks great and prevents sore hands from bumping into sharp edges. Installing hinges is no longer a tricky job with the Craig key hinge. Just position the tool and you instantly get perfectly placed drill points. Why are they cutting a skimming spatula like that? Turns out, it's the secret to creating this unique radial texture effect. You'll often see patterns like this in Asian art, Indian mandalas, and even modern Western styles like Art Deco, designs that instantly make a space stand out. To patch holes in the wall, stuff a bit of paper wrapped in plastic wrap in them to create a backing layer. This gives the filler something to grip onto instead of sinking deep into the wall. On high-rise sites, using an electric hoist to lift a wheelbarrow is a smart way to save a lot of physical effort. Attach the chain at multiple load-bearing points to keep the wheelbarrow balanced as it leaves the ground. Be sure to check that the hooks are secure and avoid overloading for a much safer and smoother lift. The right attachment combined with proper support point placement can practically neutralize the weight of a concrete pipe. With the load evenly distributed, the pipe joints stay intact, and lowering them with machinery becomes much safer. Building disaster-resistant structures without traditional columns? Benishells answers that with a giant air membrane inflated into shape. Next, a standard rebar system is installed. Before concrete is sprayed onto the surface at high speed. Once the concrete hardens, the pneumoform is deflated and can be reused up to 100 times. Thanks to its outstanding strengths, this structure can withstand earthquakes and strong storms, and it offers extremely high fire resistance too. When using a drill attachment to remove adhesive, it's best to go with a rubber tip or a soft abrasive head. Avoid sharp drill bits, since they can easily scratch or damage the surface. When roofing materials go beyond metal sheets or tiles, some people choose a very different path, using old tires as roofing. During installation, make sure each tire piece is secured to at least 2 purlins with strong screws. This helps keep the roof flat and prevents warping as the weather changes. This block clamp uses a pull lever mechanism. As it's lifted, the weight of the blocks themselves makes the jaws tighten and lock them securely in place. That way, lifting and stacking multiple heavy blocks at once becomes much safer and a whole lot easier. An earthship is a self-sufficient home built using recycled materials like old tires, glass bottles, and aluminum cans, combined with packed earth and mud. Its heavy, solid structure helps it stand strong against storms and earthquakes. However, in some urban areas, getting building permits for homes made from recycled waste can still be a paperwork challenge. Many people worry this step might shift the bricks before the sand is filled in. But interlocking pavers with edge tabs use the pallet's evenly distributed weight to press them tight and keep them temporarily stable. When installing baseboards around rounded corners, you need to cut the trim to match the curve exactly. The curved section is usually about 5/8 inch wide. Then you measure and cut the remaining edges to match. The joints are glued with Instant Bond, which dries quickly and creates a very strong hold. This tractor is taking on a second job. When the rear wheel turns, a rope wrapped around the tire works like a pulling winch. With the pulley set up above, materials can be lifted upward, making smart use of the machine's existing rotational power. Even a motorbike can take on this job. It's a solution born right on the worksite, where being flexible sometimes matters more than strictly following standard procedures. Want clean grout lines without spending extra time on cleanup later? Just cover the tile surface with masking tape before you start applying the mortar. The golden moment to peel the tape off is when the mortar has just started to set, keeping the grout lines crisp. No more running back and forth. Check out how this worker uses a rope to bundle a whole stack of bricks and carry them all in one trip. Once that's done, fix it securely to a rebar and pull the string tight to create a straight guide for laying the bricks. With this setup, you can also slide the block upward as the wall rises. No need to untie or hammer nails every time. A loader has the power to lift tons, but it takes real skill to control it precisely and borrow leverage to pry up asphalt like this. To make the columns for the table, use a sonotube form. It's lightweight, but has excellent compressive strength. Around the outside, steel mesh is wrapped to give the mortar layer something solid to grip onto. Once the base layer is ready, mosaic tiles are applied piece by piece around the column, fitted by hand to create a unique effect. After finishing the base, just add a suitable tabletop and your marble table is ready to use. Let's take a look at the power of the SMKS1, an active roller system designed for smooth cable pulling. It works well with single core cables, network cables, and flexible cables, helping them feed through without getting stuck or twisted. A wood blank is mounted into a homemade rotating frame so it can spin past the saw blade. This slowly shaves the square edges down into a smooth, round cylinder without needing a lathe, as long as the cutting area is shielded and safety precautions are followed during operation. A cabinet lift slowly raises the unit into position with a simple lever turn, and paired with the laser level, alignment becomes much more precise. The Verdura, California retaining wall project was built to reshape a steel hillside into more than 8 acres of usable building land. Instead of measuring and marking every dimension, a circle cutting jig lets you adjust easily and cut accurate circles in a wide range of sizes. Before cladding stone onto a wooden column, you need to apply bonding primer, as cement mortar can't grip directly to a smooth wood surface. This primer creates a rough sandpaper-like texture that helps the mortar lock on firmly and last longer. The biggest advantage of the M18 set is its ability to completely eliminate scoring marks on the conductor core, thanks to its precisely engineered die system. This ensures maximum electrical safety and helps keep connections from overheating over time. When humidity or temperature rises, wood fibers absorb moisture and expand across the grain. That's why using spacers to leave even gaps between boards is important, preventing warping later on. To build a clean and accurate 3D brick wall, it's smart to use a row of nails as temporary supports. Without them, the bricks that stick out can easily tilt or even collapse under their own weight before the mortar has time to set. The Into the Woods project at the Swiss Embassy in Copenhagen is shaped from layers of laminated wood, molded into flowing curves. The most important skill during installation is controlling how tightly the joints fit, where the tree-like elements connect together. At the same time, early roof covering is essential to protect the wooden structure from harsh weather conditions. Zip Sheet offers a reusable barrier solution made from high-tech fabric. The system installs without tape or screws, so it leaves no marks behind when it's removed. If the laser line is hard to see, stick a piece of tape on the drill bit and add a small mark on it. This makes the projected line stand out and easier to follow. If you expect the door might sag over time, here's a seasoned pro tip. Install the strike plate about 1 to 2 millimeters lower than the center of the latch. With Granubot, spreading fill materials like gravel, flowable mortar, or leveling compounds becomes much easier, helping you reach the desired installation height. Holding the trowel perpendicular to the edge keeps the pressure even along the contour, prevents the mortar from shifting, and maintains a square corner. Trying to push a heavy wheelbarrow up a sloped plank takes a lot of effort. Instead, turn the wheelbarrow around and use its edge as a pivot point to lift the back end and dump the material more neatly. The M18 makes it quick and easy to fasten wire mesh snugly onto the wooden post. Keep the tool squared to the post so the staples go in evenly and hold firmly. Shaping an arch frame from a base purlin system and central column requires precise alignment to keep it centered, allowing loads to transfer evenly through the fan-shaped ribs. Because cold bent steel carries high internal stress, the welds at the joints need deep, strong penetration to prevent cracking or structural failure over time. Firing nails continuously, and they're still sinking cleanly into the wood, shows the gun pressure is well tuned. But reaching that speed without jams or damage comes down to a steady grip and good trigger control. In many cases, a misaligned door isn't caused by the door itself warping. It comes from the hinge pins gradually shifting out of alignment over time. By bringing the hinge knuckles back onto the same axis, the door's weight is balanced again, and the door will operate much more smoothly. This adhesive spreading tool controls the thickness of the layer and creates ridges that let air escape when the tile is set, reducing hollow spots underneath. It also speeds up the installation process quite a bit. The secret to sharp faux stone lines is applying a thick enough mortar layer and shaping it while the surface is moist and soft enough to carve in the details. To fix warped wooden floorboards, start by drilling holes at the highest raised spots. Next, sand down the lifted areas until the surface is level with the surrounding floor. Keep in mind, this method is only suitable for solid natural wood, not engineered flooring. Finally, drive long screws through the pilot holes into the subfloor to secure the board in place, helping it stay flat and preventing it from lifting again. Tying several bricks together and carrying them on your shoulder is a handy emergency fix in tight situations, especially when you're short on manpower or working in spots where machines can't reach yet. Give your TV wall a fresh new look with ultra-thin slate or granite panels with free-flowing waves. Fit them together like a puzzle, and that's all it takes to make a one-of-a-kind feature in your space. To create smooth, even road surfaces, let the diesel engine of the Leeboy 8500D handle the paving and asphalt leveling. The key to arch lock is the self-locking mechanism of its concrete blocks. When the steel frame is pulled out, the entire arch's weight shifts toward the top block, pressing the lower blocks together. This creates a structure that grows stronger under load, true to the classic arch principle, but modernized with today's technology. You know it, straight piles make for a solid foundation. So during board pile installation, always check for any offset to make sure each pile stays perfectly vertical. While the concrete is still fresh, a bull float pushes the coarse aggregate down and brings the fine cement paste up to the surface, filling small voids. With its long handle doing the reaching, the worker can stand in one spot and smooth the slab from one end to the other. When renovating a wall, installing corner beads helps create sharp edges and protects the surface from chipping. Next, the worker needs steady spraying and precise troweling skills to achieve a perfectly smooth, flat finish. By using the hook on the end of a tape measure to hold the nail, your fingers can stay safely away, especially when hammering in tight, awkward corners. Using a beam as a brace and a rope loop to control the load, a concrete pipe weighing hundreds of kilos can be lowered slowly and kept under control. A massive plastic membrane is rolled up for transport to Marlette Lake. It's Aquadam, a temporary flexible cofferdam used during construction. Once placed in the water, the internal chambers are filled with water, forming a barrier that holds back the surrounding water and creates a dry work area. After the job is done, the dam can be drained and reused on other projects. Tie both ends of the screen to two uptight posts to keep it balanced. That way, one person can shovel sand and shake the screen at the same time without needing extra help. Make sure the ropes are tight and tensioned on both sides so the screen doesn't tilt. Create a rough textured surface by dabbing paint and lightly tapping it onto the wall, an effect that even the fanciest roller can't easily replicate. Just be careful not to overload the paint. Dab off the excess to avoid smudging the texture or creating drips. Wrapping plastic film around a column right after removing the formwork retains moisture, prevents cracking, and ensures the concrete cures at its best quality. During the hottest time of the year, concrete really needs this kind of care. As a mobile architectural icon of Central Asia, the yurt has a clever structure, but it demands high precision. If the central ring is misaligned or the tension cables are loose, the whole structure can lose stability. Those two steps are always critical during setup. Cutting packing straps by using another one to create friction is an emergency trick when you don't have a knife or scissors. Just make sure you stand at a safe distance to avoid the strap from snapping back when it breaks. When repairing a chipped stone tabletop, don't rely on epoxy alone to take the load. Adding small gravel as internal reinforcement creates a more stable core, making it stronger and less likely to crack again. To get a perfectly curved soffit, the first step is making a jig that matches the exact curve you want. This jig scrapes off excess plaster and keeps the shape consistent along the curve. For smooth wood grain effects, it's best to use oil-based paint or gel stain. They stay workable longer, giving you enough time to create the grain by hand. And don't apply it too thick. The thinner the layer, the more realistic the wood texture will look. The Parthenon OSD system can hold up to 708 kiloliters, allowing rainwater to be stored and managed on site, reducing the risk of flooding around the site. Thanks to its modular, prefabricated design, the entire system can be installed and completed in just 2 days. To use a texture roller, the walls need a coating that's thick and workable, like textured paint or a specialty skim coat, applied about 2 to 5 millimeters thick so the pattern shows up clearly and evenly. According to seasoned installers, to hide screw heads when fitting siding, especially along tricky edges and corners, hook the screws into the J-channel. A simple piece of PVC pipe can be the perfect tool for shaping a smooth, rounded corner. That curved edge not only looks softer and more refined, but also feels safer and helps reduce chipping along the edge in many designs. The anchored stoppers are the key to bending steel bars into clean, square angles. And when you need to bend multiple bars at once, group them together inside a steel pipe. The secret's out. Now it's your turn to try it and see the difference for yourself. Don't forget to show off your results in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with the latest tips from WowTech.